What's going on, guys? Seth and Chevy here. We just watched episode 17 of season 1 of Delicious in Dungeon. We'll be going full spoilers ahead, so hopefully you've watched the episode. And it'd be kind of wild if you were watching this review for the crazy stuff that happened in this episode, if you haven't been watching already. Let's do a real quick recap. Pretty straightforward episode, kind of a fucking crazy episode. So it continues from the last episode where Shiro is finding out about the black magic that was used to bring Fallon back, that inevitably has led to where we get to in this episode. And everybody's got opinions on that. Kabaru is kind of saying, that should have never happened. It's wrong, but he understands where they're coming from. And they start kind of discussing basically what to do with this. While this is happening, harpies attack. Some people are fighting them off while they're still talking, and then suddenly some of Shiro's team is just getting murdered, which was crazy. And they see a chimera that is Fallon, and it starts murdering people off, like right from the get-go. She starts just murdering a bunch of people. So everybody gets into fight mode, starts fighting Fallon, and she's just killing everybody, basically. A lot of crazy stuff's happening. Everybody's trying different things. They end up summoning what is it called? An Undine? Undine. Which, damages her, but she's then able to do some kind of magic thing where she's able to take it and absorb it. It seemed like something else happened, but at some point Kabaru is able to get behind Fallon and being the assassin he is, apparently stabbing the shit out of her in the lungs hard, slitting her throat. This is a really bloody fight, which is kind of crazy. Really well animated too. We say this every once in a while on the show. It's always good looking, but Trigger's capable of some really crazy stuff, and this episode definitely showcased a lot of that. Things are seeming pretty dire because, people are getting murdered, people are getting injured. I forgot her name, but the bigger, more
like the ogre-ish,
barbarian-esque, person part of Shiro's team goes to try and not even kill Fallon, but, capture her. She ends up getting knocked through a wall. Chilchuk and the other smaller person hide under the shield. It's crazy. So anyway, Fallon goes to use a spell that basically is making the ground into spikes. A couple people use different spells to protect the party. That's whoever's left, and they're able to do that after that spell. It seems like Fallon, between getting attacked by a lot of people and taking some pretty critical hits by everybody, while also taking out people in general, and then using the spell, is basically tapped out, and she ends up retreating. After that, they decide to start working on rezzing people, basically bringing them back, but trying to strategize who they're going to bring back first to get the maximum amount of res and heals that they can. Very MMO-like. Bring back Kabaru, bring back, I don't remember her name, but basically the healer in Shiro's group. And then at this point, a lot of people are looking at Marcille pretty negatively because she was responsible for what just attacked them in their eyes. And they're allowing her to heal people, but they don't want her doing anything else, basically. And Shiro gets to the point where he wants to take Marcille to the elves to basically confess to her crime of what she did. And of course, Laios doesn't want that to happen. He wants to go take out the Mad Mage and basically try to release the spell that's on Fallon. Him and Shiro get into a big fight. Basically, Shiro unloads on him his thoughts on how he's always been overbearing, awkward, and basically just kind of annoying. And they start punching each other, which was animated surprisingly really well. Like, I was watching the movements, I'm like, they put a lot of work into just these guys punching each other. So while they're doing that, everybody's recouping. Oh God, And then Senshi ends up giving food to Shiro because he's weak. What else am I missing at this part? There's something that happened. Basically, everybody's just kind of freaking out.
He feeds Kubro the egg
Yeah.
omelet, and then also they decide to just go ahead and leave.
Well, okay, so yeah, but before that, when they were all arguing, that kind of got brought up is that Shiro and his group are going to go back to the east, basically. They're not even going to go back to this island. They're just kind of done here. We also get some background on how Shiro wanted to marry Fallon, and he never got an answer, basically, from her. But we already know that he's in love with her, but we didn't really know that, there had been a pursuit already of that. So we understand the stakes from his point of view, which also is interesting that he's just going to leave at this point. So yeah, he ends up using a portal, basically, spell to go back to where they're from. Kabru and his people go with him as well, which was interesting. Wasn't really expecting that. So not only did a lot of people get killed in this episode, almost everybody's left, which is kind of wild. Worth mentioning, though, Shiro gives Laios a bell that when he's ready to leave the dungeon, if he survives, because Shiro's under the impression he's not going to live, try and take out the Mad Mage. If he rings that, he'll help him make his way to the east, because he knows that, given the black magic situation, they're not going to be able to leave the dungeon. So even though they had their fight, he's going to try and help him regardless. So, and yeah, we're back down to Marcel Chilchuk, Senshi, and Laios continuing their journey to free Fallon, help her again, and take out the Mad Mage, which is a big mission to take on. And also, I think it's, who was it, Kabru, who said whoever takes out the Mad Mage is said to be able to rule, basically. So there's also, a bigger stake as well if they're able to do that. Yeah, so really, really crazy episode. Thoughts?
I mean, you kind of said in the beginning, it was a very crazy episode. I started off, obviously a little more on the lighter side, especially with like Chilchuk walking in and having extreme reactions to the fact that they've basically been had. Their secret is no longer secret.
Well, that was also interesting too, and I didn't mention it in my recap, but this is important to mention. They had told some people what they did, and Chilchuk understands that that's information that really shouldn't be shared, and the more people who know it, the worse it could get for them. So they're trying to evaluate who knows and how much more people can know, and basically what to do in the situation.
Right. But yeah, as soon as the harpy part started, at first it was just kind of like humorous because they're just having this.
Yeah.
Chilchuk's basically having this discussion or thought process about like, okay, what the hell do we do now? How many people know? Blah blah blah. And you just see occasionally a harpy plop on the ground here and there.
Yeah, they had it under control.
I was like, this is such a weird like tone happening right now.
Yeah.
And then also one of the plops was one of the members of Shiro's team.
That actually was kind of genius the way they did that, because yeah, as the harpy showed up, I'm like, the episode's called Harpy Chimera, so why are the harpies here and why are they getting killed so easily? Like, Shiro's people are just like wrecking these things. It was simple for them, and then one of them drop, and I'm like, the fuck?
Yeah. And then it happened again, and then they look up, and one of the craziest chimeras I've ever seen in a show. Part dragon, part I assume like harpy-esque, and then part Fallon. So very creepy looking.
Yeah.
Very well animated for her, like the amount of appendages it had too, which is crazy. They really had fun with that, and they took
This
their
whole
time
episode.
with some of the animations too. Like
Yep.
when she cocked back to like swing her tail and to like raise a wing up to go punch someone and stuff. Like it was all very intentional.
Yeah, this was definitely the best animated episode we've seen so far. I was like just watching the whole thing going like, yeah, they're putting some effort into this one. But given the tone and what was happening, it was needed. Like I kind of loved the fight because it was like really intense and they treated it appropriately in the quality department. So it's really great to watch.
Well, and it was also just a lot of fun too as a viewer because like not only is this chimera super powerful, but you have this other factor of like you got a party that doesn't want to harm it either, and they're trying to prevent the other because the other two parties are just ready to kill it. It's a monster in their eyes.
Yeah, I loved that dynamic because obviously Fallon is overpowered. Like she could kill basically almost all of them as she showed, but there's also 3 parties fighting it. And some of them were trying to kill her and some of them weren't, but that dynamic of like the confusion of like what the hell do we do while she's murdering people is like this is kind of a crazy scene. And it was cool too because we got a good like variety of different attacks from these parties. So it was like it was akin to like oh god, what's that place in Lord of the Rings when they're fighting the cave troll? Remember?
Mines Moria?
Mines Moria, thank you. That's what it's called. It kind of felt like that in anime form. Like a bunch of people were fighting like one thing. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, well, and then just like all the different people's like ways of attacking too, while it's happening, and the way she counterattacks stuff. And Fallon's already like this powerful mage to begin with, and then that on top of being now a dragon as well, like. She's just using the brute force with all that dragon strength, and then when people would cast spells at her, she would just cast spells back because she's still Fallon.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then also like when she was going to cast that big, huge like earth spell, Marcel instantly was like, "Oh crap! I know that incantation. Like, if you can get to me, get to me." Like,
that one dude turned into like
he turned himself into stone. Yeah. The other mage.
So it's cool to see everybody. Yeah. Yeah, that was gnarly. Like, obviously, it's different because people can get brought back, and I like how clever it was the way they had to think about bringing people back. It wasn't just like, well, they're all back. They can bring them back. But just watching the visceral visual of people getting murdered and blood being everywhere was like kind of crazy. Even Cabru after just ganking the shit out of her. And I was wondering, like, why is he taking his armor off? And it's because he needed to be able to get up on her. But even after that, he got slammed to the ground and killed. So it's like...
It's crazy. That guy's, like, super skilled, but he has, like, the worst luck ever.
Yeah.
Because, like, he's just died so many times in the show already.
Or, this is what happens to the people in the dungeon, and the 4 we watch are the lucky ones.
I mean, that is also potentially true.
Because they shouldn't be this deep, and they are.
Yeah.
But everybody else down here is just getting wrecked, so...
Well, and then like Cabro is sitting there like having this inner dialogue, like as he's paying attention to Lyle sit there and like break down the anatomy of this new chimera and stuff like that, and he's like, man, this guy like really is an encyclopedia when it comes to this. Like so.
Well, and that was kind of cool about that. I mean, outside the fight was just cool in general, but when Cabra did that, it wasn't even just like. Going like, whoa, shit, he did a bunch of damage to her, but like also Laios like learned that those vital spots from a human didn't do much to her except for she was bleeding. But like he's like, thinking about his knowledge of monsters and going like, oh, so her vitals aren't there likely.
Yeah.
So it served a purpose.
Yeah. Well, and then just like seeing like this guy appreciate, a person who comes off just dopey all the time.
Which we as viewers have been saying that since the beginning.
Yeah, but then he always has random knowledge, and like now it's like being, shown from someone else's perspective who shared that perspective, at least with us. And so that was fun. And then them obviously leaving to go back to the surface and then go whatever directions they decide to go. I don't think it's in the end of seeing either of them. Unless it is for Shuro, but I have a feeling we'll see. I forgot his name already. Cabru again.
KBRU.
I don't think it's the last we've seen of him. But
we even said till next time, and even Laios was like next time.
Yeah.
So,
but I think he's fascinated with him at this point. So.
I'm still weirded out by Cabru because he's a siphon for information, and he's not forthcoming in what he's actually thinking with people. So he's really secretive, so it's kind of weird,
Yeah.
but also interesting. So
Yep. Other than that, I mean, we already brought up the animation thing again, but earlier, but just to kind of reemphasize, like I'm just like thriving on all these fantasy animes with really good animation lately. I'm just like super happy about that. So.
yeah, where's Berserk at? It'd be a great time to do it.
Yeah.
Like it's just this animation or better. Like anything. Obviously not by Trigger. It would need to look
Yeah.
a different way. But just saying like they're putting this kind of animation into a show that's mostly humorous. And there's a bunch of studios who are capable of doing great animation now. I'm constantly surprised. We just watched Kaiju number 8, and the animation now was fantastic.
Production IG, yeah.
So a lot of people can do it. So, but yeah. Anything else?
That's it.
It was a great episode. This was definitely, in terms of a fight scene in the show, which is not why I watched the show, but always enjoy, my favorite one so far. We got really cool variety in different abilities. The stakes, even though people can get brought back, felt high because we're watching people getting killed off way too quickly. So it felt like they were really outmatched. The only reason they even had a chance is because they had so many people. But then her final spell was like devastating. But outside of that, I thought the politics was really interesting as well. We always get these kind of lore drops, and it's kind of interesting to hear different perspectives on not only is it personally not right for me that you're using black magic, but also it's like illegal. Like you can't be doing that. So it's kind of interesting to see that. Also interesting to see, the fight between Shuro and Laios, and basically trying to figure out if we need to take Marcel to the elves, or like, no, we need to go defeat the Mad Mage. And so that was cool as well.
It's also nice seeing Laios go to bat for Marcel.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I thought about that too while we're watching this. The show starts out and Marcel's kind of a joke. And even back then I was like, she always going to be like this? And now like she's not only been super helpful in the deeper parts of the dungeon, but she's also responsible for something that's this politically divisive. And at this point the stakes are higher because regardless of if you can die or not in the dungeon, he wants to take her out of the dungeon and go have her confess to what she did. And the rules are different there, so it is interesting to see Laios defend her basically. So but yeah, we pretty much already talked about everything. It was a really good episode, definitely one of my favorite ones. The whole tone and atmosphere with Fallon being revealed was like creepy, which I really liked. It felt like, oh shit, like everybody's just like trying to take in what they're seeing and how to assess it. So yeah, overall really liked the episode. Can't wait to watch more. This is definitely like my favorite anime we're watching right now, and yeah, can't wait to see where it goes. This show constantly has me guessing because now I'm like, what are they gonna do now? There's only 4 of them. Like the show's constantly changing and it's always clever. So yeah, can't wait to see more. Anything else?
I think that covers it.
All right, let us know in the comments, what did you guys think of this episode? What were some of your biggest takeaways? What's something in the episode that you caught that we might have not, that you want to talk about? Let us know in the comments. No spoilers, please. If you have read the manga, we haven't. We want to go in blind. And yeah, let us know everything you think about in the comments below when it comes to Delicious in Dungeon. I've been Seth, this has been Chevy. Until the next episode, we will talk to you guys later.